Hey guys, welcome to the eighth episode of Fstop Live with Godox SA and myself, a show that we've set aside to obviously get creators in South Africa noticed and get obviously their work put out, and so people can obviously see how amazing the talent is in SA. We thank you for obviously joining us. If you obviously joining us from whichever city in South Africa, please drop your name in the comments. Just say hello, say that you're watching. I will definitely give you a shout out. I see Kenlan has already joined. Kenlan, thank you so much for joining. But for today is actually a very exciting one for myself. I've actually got a really awesome creative that I'm about to interview. I'm going to introduce you to him shortly. Definitely is one of the big names in Durban. He's setting the wedding industry ablaze. In fact, I was just telling him now he's actually sitting at the apex of the wedding photography industry. His work is very creative. His lighting is absolutely amazing, and above all, he shoots Godox. So we're gonna want to obviously pick his brains and get into understanding exactly what goes behind this amazing creative. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Yajur Chotai.
How's it
Yajur,
going?
how
How
are
are you
you
doing?
doing, bro?
Good, thanks, man. How are you keeping?
I'm good on my end, just having a bit of a relaxed Friday, trying to get my lighting and everything sorted out for today. How's things
Thanks for
on your
having me
end?
on this show. All is good. Also, just getting through preparing for events coming up this weekend um, and the month as well. So we're all good on our side.
Now, I know you're a very busy person, and I think it was actually a few weeks ago that I was asking you, how do you manage doing what you do? Because I couldn't make it being busy for like 3 weeks on end. And you were telling me, welcome to your world.
Yeah. Look, it's a bit crazy. Time management is a big issue. Um, like last year, we shot 72 weddings. And from there, we shot 70 pre-weddings. So in total, it was about 142 events. Um, so it does become a bit crazy, a bit taxing on family life, personal life, health-wise as well. So yeah, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
I think, in fact, you are there, and it's something that I was actually telling Kenlan as well earlier in this week. Um, from following you, obviously, from before being your friend, I noticed your work, I saw your work, and obviously, from being your friend, and obviously, getting to know you, in fact, I think we've actually grown quite close. You've got some of my gear there by you. I've got some of your gear here by me.
Yeah.
You've been an amazing friend so far, but I think what's most important is I actually I'd like the SA community to obviously get to see who you are exactly, what part of the what corner of Durban you're from, and exactly what you're up to. Because I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, I can't wait to show the guests your pictures. But you've been blowing things up this side, bro. Absolutely blowing things up.
No, thanks, Sean. I'm humbled by that. But it hasn't been an easy road as well.
Of course.
I'm always trying to push the barrier, trying to do different things from the norm. So I think that leads to the different sort of work that I'm trying to do, and people are starting to appreciate what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. No, definite. To the guests, obviously, that have joined, thank you so much for joining us. If you do have any questions, if you'd like to give a shout out, we've got Andisa, that's obviously given a shout out. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. We've got David Lowe, another amazing Durban photographer. He's joined us. We've got one of your team members over here, Kavinash. Thank you so much for joining. Lizan, thank you for joining as well. And Ken Len, the guy that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us more about you. Who is Yajur Chotai?
So I'm just your average Joe. I'm an accountant by day, photographer by weekend, um, and that's about it. Who I am. Um, I started off photography not too long ago, which is about wedding photography itself. Um, Started off in 2016. So it's about a sixth year that I'm actually doing wedding photography. However, I did start off photography as a hobby in 2012. That's when I got my first DSLR. And then I was just basically shooting parties, and that's what I was doing. Then I bought myself a pro lens, and people started enjoying the work that I was doing at parties, and then they started booking me more regularly. And it so happened that I shot as a second shooter for a friend's wedding in 2016, and that's when I said, "Hey, you know what? Um, there is something there that I can exploit." And ever since, I haven't looked back.
And I think it's actually been amazing because the people from Durban have been enjoying your services, man.
Yeah. Look, it came to a time where I think my photography had changed as well. I think it was a point in my life where I had to reflect. I was one of those normal photographers that you would get, and I needed to ask myself, where do I want to see myself? So basically, we put down some goals, and we work towards how we're going to achieve those goals. To date, I'm still trying to achieve many of those goals, and so it just brought in a difference. And I sat down and said, you know what can I do differently that can attract people's attention and appreciate what I'm doing? Because the most important thing for me is, and the joy that I get, is not shooting all the time, but seeing the reaction of my clients.
I think that's also something that I've seen obviously resound within the industry is the fact that your clients and the people that obviously have booked you in times past, they really speak about how professional you and your team members are. There's how many of you are on the team currently?
Currently, we have six on the team.
Okay, so there's six of you, and they speak about how obviously how professional you guys are, and it's always been amazing. Uh, Mind my light, it's actually just gone off. But yeah, so they actually speak about how professional your team is, and I think that's actually amazing. But if you can just delve into some of the questions that I'd like to ask, obviously, number one, um, I know you recently moved to Sony.
Yep.
It's about just over a year ago you moved from Nikon to Sony.
Correct.
Why
Yeah.
why Sony? Why Sony?
Look, Sony has been on my radar for quite some time. A lot of the photographers that I also follow are Sony shooters. It so happened that in our kit we had a Sony camera as well, and
Hmm,
I came to a stage where I said, let me just try it out, and
okay.
I tried it out, and it just fitted me very well. I took to it immediately. The style of shooting, um, or we just went hand in glove, and I didn't feel that with the previous brand, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and it's helping me do what I want to do.
Okay. What Sony are you currently shooting?
So right now I'm shooting with the Sony A7 IV. So you will always see me with two Sonys, a pair.
And you're enjoying it. I know you
Yeah.
like your primes, eh? I know you love shooting primes.
Yeah, look, I don't, for photography wise, I don't have a single zoom lens. So I'm only shooting all primes: 35, 50, 85, 105, 135. And I think that covers me throughout. So
I know
uh,
you were telling me that you recently purchased the 105.
the
Am I
105
right?
f 1.4, yeah, dream
Oof.
lens, dream lens.
If you
So
don't mind me, I'm just moving around a little bit here. I'm trying to get my lighting sorted out.
I
I
thought
don't
you had
like
load
anything.
shedding there, Sherwin.
Yeah, no, it's it just cut off for a second there. Yeah, it's actually going to be back shortly in three, two, one. Now, see, I like that. It looks so nice. That looks much better.
Looks
Yeah,
sweet.
sorry, man. Yeah, so we were talking about the fact that you do shoot primes. I know. In fact, I've been on a wedding with you some time ago, and I remember seeing how you shoot. Your two primes. So you have your one camera on the left, you got your other camera on the right, 35 mil, 85 mil. That's your go-to, and then obviously you change as you go on. Your colors in your pictures have really changed quite a bit, since your move. Are you
Look,
enjoying the?
I don't think it's only the camera itself that changes the whole color aspect. I
Okay.
think it's a whole package itself. It's from camera, your camera brand, to the post production, your editing as well. So I've also noticed that my editing style has changed.
Yes.
I'm learning more techniques while editing. So I think all of that plays a major part in the whole package itself.
Just before we go on over here, we've got someone that's very special that's put a comment.
Mhm.
You can give her a shout out. She deserves it.
Thanks, love. That's
We've got Carl Daniels that has also joined. Thank you so much, Carl, for joining us. Um, Subash as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, no. So we were speaking about with regards to the colors and all that you are shooting, and yes, of course, you are 100% right. It's not just the equipment, and
Look, don't get me
as
wrong.
our
There
no, no,
is a
of course.
variation. There is a
Mm,
variation with the color science from uh, which I used to shoot, which was Nikon, and
yeah.
now with Sony, there is a distinct color difference. Um,
Mm.
I don't know. I'm just leaning more towards where I am right now. I'm liking those colors. I love it actually.
I've seen the difference. I've actually seen the difference, and right now your work is actually on the top. It's actually at the
You
top, and
know,
if
I'm the type of
anything,
person that
I
when
can say it's yeah.
when I shoot, I'm normally shooting with two cameras. So before I used to shoot with zoom lenses, and it used
Mm.
to be 2470 2.8, 7200 2.8 on either side.
While we on that point, we've got
Mhm.
Kenlan that asks the question. He says no 70 to 200 f2.8. Why?
Look, I used to shoot with it. Um,
Yeah.
right now with my 135, and when I change it to the crop sensor mode on the Sony, I still get the same distance.
Mm.
And I mean, I just find it better for me. I don't need that zoom to zoom in. You know what? Don't get upset with me. For those of you guys that shoot with the 7200, a photographer once told me zoom lenses are for people who are lazy, right?
True.
So with my primes, if I need to get a shot, if I need to get a specific angle, I move in. That's also the style, the way I shoot now compared to how I used to shoot before, especially when it comes to weddings. Now I'm
Mm.
not afraid to go onto stage and get up, nice and close to get my shots that I want. I think when I first started off photography, I was very complacent, very quiet, scared about, telling the priest to stop what he's doing, so that I
So
can
you can
get my
get a shot.
shot. Yeah. So
I think as your
now
confidence goes up as well, eh?
I would think so. And at the end of the day, I think I need to. I'm answerable to the client when they ask me, did you get that shot? And then I say
Mm.
no because the pastor, the priest, went on. But there are
Mm.
times where I did stop and say, I need to get my shot, and that's it.
No, definite. What is it like being a wedding photographer in Durban?
It's been nice. It's been competitive as well. However, not to the extent where we hate each other, but I think competitive in the sense that we see what the other photographers are doing, and we always want to be a level above. So we're pushing ourselves.
Mm.
Um, but the industry in KZN is quite good. I mean, we are happy. We love all the other service providers, all the other photographers out there.
Yeah.
We get on well with everybody. Personally, I don't have any enemies out there, and I think we just need to stay humble, and we are one family as such.
Yeah. So I think, in fact, even I think it was last week as well that you were actually with the Sony crew.
Yeah.
I think Sony's actually got a good community base here in Durban. We've got some of the guys that are actually heading it up, and just a shout out to them, Limitless Tech and all. They're quite involved in the community or the photography community, I would say. Uh, so yeah, Sony definitely has a good community in Durban. The fact, when was it, last week? Was it last week, right? The ZV, was it 2 weeks ago? I'm trying to remember.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, the ZVE one was launched and they had an awesome event, and obviously your guys went out and tested it there and stuff like that, which is actually good. So I would say the community in Durban, especially with the branding that you represent and work with, they are quite active in Durban, so which is good.
Yeah.
So you are happy. You are happy with the photography community. No enemies.
No, very happy, very happy. I mean, that social that we went for, it was good to meet all the other photographers out there because, on the weekends we are all shooting weddings and there's no time to
Mm,
socialize. So for me, it was more of a social event where I got to
yeah.
go and see all the other buddies, and it was good. It was good to meet up.
No, this is another thing as well. In obviously asking you about being a wedding photographer in Durban. I know that you used to shoot quite a bit of stuff previously. Maybe obviously your portfolio is quite vast. Maternity shoots and family shoots and portraits and all of that. You've done fashion photography and all of that, but you've actually in recent times dedicated yourself towards being a wedding photographer and being obviously shooting specifically weddings. It's very important to be obviously a photographer that would choose a specific genre and master that, or obviously take on the quest to master it. How important would you say that it's been towards obviously your brand and yourself in choosing to just go wedding photography?
Look, right now I'm known for only wedding photography, which I like. Um, Personally, I love that I'm involved in the couple's lives because I'm creating memories for their special day. Um, I think as a newbie coming into the industry, which I also did, I did everything, even product photography, but it wasn't for
Mm,
me. I mean, you just get a calling and this is what you want to do. And I also think that you need to specialize in a specific genre where you can utilize all your energy and your efforts into that. You know,
mm,
um, it does become difficult. I know it's challenging for me to do product shoots because I have no idea about it. But yet, when you come and ask me about photography for wedding, I can tell you how it's done and how I do things. I've got things set out. So I think it's very important that you need to specialize in something. However, when you just enter the market, you want to test out which belongs to you.
mm.
And
Obviously dip your feet in the different genres until you find something that obviously suits what you like.
correct, yeah. I mean, I think when my son was born, I thought I can do newborn photography, and you know what? I regret it. I should have actually got somebody who does newborn photography to actually do those shots.
Mm,
But also, why I choose wedding photography is because it's stressful. It
mm,
is action packed, especially the Indian weddings. There's one thing, one after the other that's happening. You got to be on your toes. You can't be caught sleeping.
mm.
You need to know exactly what goes on in the whole ceremony itself to capture those important moments. And for me, it's keeps your blood pumping. You're just on the move
Mm.
all the time. And my style of shooting, I'm all over the place.
I've seen that. I've personally seen that. No, I think it is definitely important, as you said, to obviously specialize. They say you rather be, what's it, jack of all trades, master of
And
none.
master of none. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not something. Yes, it's good to obviously have experience in all of the genres, or as many as you can, obviously, just to understand exactly where you want to be. But with exactly what you said now, something that you can dedicate yourself to mastering, and you can become really good at just obviously doing that. And it speaks for itself because, as I said, you definitely at the top when it comes to the Durban circuit, obviously of wedding photography. You definitely, in my regard, I can boastfully say it. I can consider you number one
no, thanks, John.
currently. Currently, I can definitely boast that Yajur Chotai is one of the best wedding photographers in Durban, and the people that are obviously tuned in, they're going to definitely see why. I'd like to take them into that shortly. But just a question as well before we go into some of the pictures. What inspires you, Yajur?
There's a range of things that inspire me. Firstly, the global photography family, watching the work that they produce, and also you want to do a bit of a twist on it. So from the photographers that I follow internationally, I've learned a few ideas or techniques from there, and I've twisted it a bit so that it becomes personal to me. Um,
Hmm.
I also just love shooting. I mean, my wife once made a comment to me and says, "You go and you work, but you actually have fun." you know.
Mm.
And I think we need to do something where we enjoy what we do. And I think every weekend when I go out with the guys, um, I'm saying like I'm going out having fun. Yes, I am having fun, but we're actually working at the same time.
Quite
um,
serious, but it's something that you enjoy.
no, 100%, 100%. Look, at the end of the day, creating good images. Sometimes I see something with my eye that the client doesn't see, and once I've done the shot and I show it to them, and they're like, "Oh wow, I didn't even know it was. We could do something like this." So, you know, that also pushes me, inspires me to do more.
No, definite. Let's go into some of your pictures. I'd like to obviously, as I said, show the people exactly who it is that we are talking to. We've already got Kenlin that's commenting there, that's saying he's seen your work, and well done. This was shot in Durban, assuming.
100%. That was done in Bolito. Um, Basically, it was on the beach, and I needed to get some sort of epic image. There were a few rocks around, so I told the couple, I said, "Listen, first I asked the bride, are you okay with getting wet?" And she says, "Yeah, no, she go for it." And
Yeah.
I placed them on a rock. I had my light guy that was there. We waited for the
Mm.
wave. As the wave came, I did my shot. My light guy ended up running away from there, and this is the final product. This is the final
This
product.
is stunning. This is absolutely stunning. Um, walk us through your process. How do you prepare for a wedding? Um, before you actually do the shoot, how
So
do
I
you
think
prepare yourself?
one of the most important things for me is meeting the client, because post COVID, I've noticed there's a trend where clients are not coming and doing a contact meeting. They're just mailing you or phoning you and say, "Hey, listen, we want to book you," and you're booked for the event.
Yeah.
But I like to do a contact meeting or either a virtual meeting with them so that I can get a feel of what sort of couple that I'm working with. Also
Mm.
physically, to see what sort of what I'm working with as well, because in my mind, then when I'm going for the shoot, I can then think about, okay, what am I going to be doing with them, the client, what sort of poses will start looking good with them, because and a lot of people don't know how to pose and they rely on you as a photographer to direct them.
Yes.
So I think the client meeting prior to the event is very important. Um, Knowing what sort of personality that I'm working with and how far that the client would want to go in order to get images that we want to get. So
I
I
think
think that's the base before we can
I
even
think
get to the event.
I think definitely with what you said, you have to be able to touch base, and you can learn. Obviously, you can learn from each other as to how far they're willing to go, as you said,
Uh,
to get that
yeah,
shot. And this is the perfect example. If you look at this image is something that you can obviously frame it, and you'd want to put it up,
yeah.
in the home. This is stunning,
By
and I
no
can only
by no
imagine.
means by no means this is not photoshopped. I didn't take the couple and just place them there.
So,
This was the
yes, you
actual
shot.
image.
You can see now if you look at their garments are wet. You can see all the
Yeah,
way up to almost his knees. The groom is wet. Now,
yeah.
if you have to consider the bride and groom that would tell you no, they don't want to obviously get wet, they would never have a shot like this.
No,
And
100%. However, you
so,
do respect them because we get some
of
individuals who
course,
are very reserved. You know,
yes, yes,
I once not too long ago shot a couple where they didn't want to show too much of intimate affection between the two of them because
yeah,
they didn't want those sort of images. So you've got to adjust yourself such that the client is happy. And you know what?
yes.
Um, my guys will tell you that if you tell me do whatever I want, that you're asking for something crazy, and we can go really crazy. I mean, there was
I
a wedding
know,
that
I
we
know.
did. There
I've
was a wedding
seen
that
it.
we
I've seen
did
it.
in I think August during COVID. I ended up rolled up my pants and I walked into knee deep water just to take out some shots.
Just to get
So
some shot.
yeah, that's what I'm going
Exactly.
for. Different stuff. I don't want to shoot the norm.
Tell me quickly, what lighting did you use on this specific picture before I move on?
Sherwin, you're killing me. Yeah. I can tell you, I can tell you for sure it was Godox because I only
It
shoot
was
with Godox. It was Godox.
I know
Um,
for a fact you only shoot at Godox. I don't want to obviously give our guests the large list that you have of Godox products. We may not stop. We'll only be talking about your products.
yeah. Look, this could have been 8600.
Hmm.
May have been the 8600.
I think so, eh? I think so.
Yeah.
Look at this.
This
To the
was this
guests,
was an interesting one.
I'm just saying quickly to the guests that obviously are tuned in. Um, as you can see, we are obviously doing an interview of Yajur Chotai, one of, if not the best photographer in Durban, wedding photographer. He's absolutely amazing. If you do have any questions, please just drop it in the comments quickly. Yajur and myself will obviously answer it to the best of our ability. But Yajur, let's get back to the picture. Where did you take this? Where did you take this shot?
This was in northern Natal, Spierenkop Dam.
Hmm.
Interesting one. We were just driving on safari, so we were on creative shoot, driving through the safari and the national park, and we drove past this little stream or river. And
Hmm.
as soon as we passed that, I told the driver to stop. I mean, I saw something, and then I ended up taking the couple there, and then that's how it just came out. I saw this image before I even shot it. So I
Hmm.
think having foresight is sometimes it's a good thing. Um, as photographers, I think we see things that we want to see and we want to create, which the normal eye wouldn't. And
No,
this year, I can,
definitely. You have to be able to have it in your mind's eye
yeah,
before you obviously take the picture, and this is definitely something that's rewarding of that.
100%.
Stunning, absolutely stunning.
That was also
I've
shot
got a
with the
question.
Godox
I've
8600,
got
eh?
definitely 8600. I've got a question over here by Lazan. He's asking, what are some of the questions you ask during your meetings with clients?
So, when you sit down with a client, firstly, you will kind of pick up the vibe when they get in, how they greet you, whether they are fun personality or not. And sometimes you do get the ones that are very reserved, quite. And then you start asking me, hey guys, I have an idea, which could be a great idea.
Mm.
There's a specific location that I want to shoot at. Like for example, I shoot at Giba Gorge,
Yes.
and it's quite a nice place. And you just throw it out to them and say, hey, listen, Giba Gorge is there, but it's about a 15-minute walk to the waterfall itself. Are you guys
Yes.
keen on doing it? We can get a good image, and you get the feel of how they react. I mean,
Mm.
I've got some clients said, no, I'm just going to be too tired. I don't want to go so far, and something nearby. So you get the feel of what they want.
Yeah, and then obviously you can tailor yourself towards exactly what they're looking for.
Correct. We need to be flexible, and at the end of the day, it's customer satisfaction. So
Mm.
we need to provide what they want.
I can tell you already, this looks like Montesil, is it?
100%. 100%.
To the guests that are obviously watching, this is actually one of the best views that we have in Durban. It's Montesil overlooking in Changa and the Valley of a Thousand Hills, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Tell us more about this shot.
So this was a creative shoot that we did. Unfortunately, it rained on the wedding day, so we ended up going on another day to do the creative shoot.
Mm.
Um, it was just about sunset. We were also contemplating whether it would rain or not. Luckily for us, the weather held up. I got the couple. I went and stood back. My assistant came in with the lighting. We lit them up, and obviously you need to expose for your surroundings. And
Mm.
that's the shot we ended up getting.
Stunning, absolutely stunning. Tell me, did you
My
edit those
photography
clouds?
has a tad bit. Um, my photography has changed. I've gone more of like a landscape sort of vibe. Um,
Mm.
and the reason why is because we go to different locations all the time, but we don't end
Yes.
up shooting the location itself, you
As
know?
much of it as possible. I noticed,
Exactly.
I've seen it as well. So you're getting more of environmental portraiture in it, and
Correct.
it's important because you get to obviously give the clients a sense of, remembering exactly where they were at the time, it's not just the shots about them, but you're looking at the scenery as well. This is a
Yeah.
stunning image, absolutely stunning.
So that's just about when the sun was going down, and then it lit up the clouds, whatever clouds were there, and bang, that's what we had.
Beautiful. Um, let's go to the next one. Wow, look at this lighting, stunning.
What the question is, what did I shoot? What lighting did I use here?
This looks like a 8200. I'm thinking
Mm-hmm. 8200.
82.
I wonder what our viewers would say.
Let's ask the guests. What do you think? What do you think Yajur used to light this up? I'm saying the 8200. There's a reason why I say that, but I'll say it just now. But guys, you can just give us a guess quickly while we discuss it. Yeah, we've got Subash also saying it's a 8200. We've got
Okay.
Lazan saying 8200. Kenan likes the image as well. Okay, the reason why I say 8200 is obviously this is towards the late evening or afternoon. We can't go 8600, too bright. And no matter what increment of power you would drop on that 8600 BM, it would be too bright. Something even like a V1, that obviously if you could diffuse it correctly. But definitely for me, I say 8200.
Okay.
You tell me?
So so my photography has changed, and I get a lot of questions like, Yujur, what lighting are you using? So that's such
Sorry,
a
one more.
difficult question.
Can I just say
Yeah.
one more guess? If it's not the 8200, LC500R.
Okay. Yeah. So when I get those questions as Yujur, what lighting do you use?
Yeah,
I use all the lighting, right? I
that you
use
have
lighting
available.
from 80s. No, no, no. It's all available. 8600, 8200s, the LC light sticks, also the ML 660s that I have. So this was shot at about 8:30 at night at the hotel.
Oh,
So basically, these are just LED lights that I'm using.
hmm, just the LEDs,
Only LEDs, no strobe, no 8200. Sorry, guys.
not the 80s. So this was the ML60.
No, these were the light sticks, the
LC
LC 500s.
500.
Yeah.
LC 500. Yes. I got it in the end. I'm like, no, if it's not 8200, it has to be the LC 500R. Or I'm thinking, wait, man, you may have the ML60s with you at the time because you could
No, I
definitely
didn't have
get
it
this.
at the time. However, I would have probably used it, but um, that's one of the reasons why I have two of the LC 500s, is
Mm,
because one is my main and one is just a full.
no, definitely. And this is absolutely stunning. I know Kenlan actually also loves the LC 500s. It is
Yeah.
actually one of his favorites. Wow, look at this. I think the challenge of a year would be, and this is something you can tell us how you overcame it. When you've got all of those light peeking through the forest, all of this that you're getting that's peeking through the forest, it's quite difficult to ensure that you expose correctly because you may have obviously a good exposure on one side, and then you get those spots of where the sunlight is coming through. How did you overcome that on this picture?
So
For the
number one is to place them in area where you've got that even light, right? No spotlights of light coming through the leaves. The second thing is that you need to pick up your softbox or your light diffuser such that it blocks off those those uneven lights that
Hmm,
does come through. So I think here we were lucky enough that we had a shade spot where there was no peaking lights that it was coming through, and then we just used a modifier on our 8200.
no, stunning. This is actually definitely a good picture. Where was this shot?
In a bush in Amshlanga.
Definitely in the bush. We can see
Uh,
it's in the bush.
it was, to be honest, it was just a walkway from the lodge that we're staying to the ocean.
Lovely. This is just so nice. Absolutely lovely. Also a great shot. Next question. How do you market yourself for those obviously that are watching?
So initially, it used to be Facebook, Instagram. However, I don't do much advertising now. I
Mm,
think it's more word of mouth referrals, um,
mm.
and that's basically how it's going at this point in time. So I think people are sharing my details off to the others.
I think definitely with, as I said, with what I've noticed of obviously, being a part of the photography community and obviously in the industry as a whole, many people speak in very high regard of obviously the way you conduct yourself, and you've done very well with that. So definitely with what you say with word of mouth, it definitely makes sense. Um, you've provided a good service, so clients would obviously want to obviously recommend you and speak about you to their family members, because you must remember it's not just one person that's getting married in that family. Maybe in the next few months another person, another couple is
That's
getting
correct. Yeah.
married, maybe in a year or so, and all it just becomes a snowballing effect. So I think it's very important as creators we really focus or spend time on how we relate to our clients, and ensure that we obviously give them superior service. So it's being available, it's being able to speak, it's being able to obviously answer questions. um, it's assuring them that obviously the, the quality of your service is going to be um, amazing, and obviously going above and beyond what they require. And you've done that. Well done, you've done that.
Thank you. I think also a major part is, when we are at events, even my team, we are a friendly bunch, So sometimes going into an event stuck up and, I don't mean to be bad, but think we know everything and just give off that bad sort of vibe. People won't want to use you again.
I'm just gonna give a shout out here quickly. You speak about your team, all right? I'm gonna give a shout out to Kavinash quickly. I was at a wedding. You were also, I think you also came through at the wedding. It was 2 weeks ago. I
Yeah,
was at that wedding, and you'd swear if you saw Kavinash prior to you obviously arriving, you'd swear Kavinash was working with me, and he was there, he was assisting, he was like, what, can
yeah,
we just try, and he set up a perimeter so quickly around the camera, the video camera. He
yeah.
came through and he just set it up quickly. And that's exactly what you're just saying about obviously your team. You've actually got a really really good set of teammates. As I said, shout out to Kavinash for assisting me at that wedding that day. I appreciate it. You're really an awesome person. I hope he's still watching. But yeah, you do have a great team. Where was this captured, Yajur?
I think this was Tinley Manor.
Hmm.
Yeah, Tinley Manor Beach, where we did the creative shoot. Yeah, on the beach, just below their home.
Oh, so this was just near their house.
Yeah, so they basically stay on. If you're looking at the image, it's on the right hand side. So there's a big bank that comes down, and we did the shoot. We went back to the house, and then we did our
Mhm.
creative shoot on the beach itself.
No, definitely. We've got Carl over here. He says he likes the image. Stunning, and love the rocks and the sun. This is definitely a good shot. One of my favorites. Yes, yes. I think this is one of the highlight pictures from last year. I would say that. Can I say that?
Yes, yes. And I get a lot of clients coming by and saying, "Can we please do the same gondola shot that we saw?" However, I try not to replicate the image. Um,
Yeah.
this this image here, everything just fell together. It was just about sunset. Um, the
Yes.
sun wasn't too strong. All the conditions played in our favor, and
Yeah.
that's the image we got.
I know sometimes you may not even be able to replicate this, just on the whim.
Mhm.
Obviously, as you said, the conditions just lined up. This was actually shot at the gondolas at Ushaka, right?
Yeah.
But stunning, absolutely. Were you standing on the bridge at the time when they went under you?
Correct. So what happens is we leave the couple where they jump onto the gondola, and I have
Yeah,
to sprint all the way. I think it's about at least 100, 150 meters to
I
where the
know
bridge
it's
is.
quite a distance. It's quite a distance.
Yeah. And get there, stand on one side of the bridge where the canoe is coming or the gondola is coming, and tell the guy, please keep your gondola in the center. And then
Yeah,
as soon as he goes underneath, I'm over to the other side of the bridge. And as he comes
shooting.
out, then we shooting that image.
How did you light this up?
Good question. So we did a little bit of Photoshop here. I kept an 8200 with a diffuser,
Hmm,
um, Magmod diffuser on the seat itself, and that's what just basically picked up all the shadows on them.
lovely, lovely. Because you can see they're actually quite well lit up, eh?
Yeah,
They're definitely well lit up. No, well done with this one. And even to get that kind of lighting, from the sun that you got the reflection in the water there. Oof, lovely, lovely. I remember, if I remember correctly, it was the day that you shot this, or either the week that you edited to obviously start posting it. I remember we spoke, and this was one of the most exciting images that you took. You were like, "Bro, I have to show you something." I was like, "Okay, bro, you can show me." It's like, check this picture out. I think this is really nice. Well done, absolutely well
thanks,
done.
man.
Also from the same wedding, right?
Same wedding, just a different angle. So once the gondola went past the bridge and turned around and came back, I was on the side of the the canal,
The
and
canal, yes.
yeah. So same thing. We've got the sun at the back, which is just backlighting them, and my 8200 with a sphere on it, just giving them a bit of light.
Lovely. Wow, this is stunning. To me, is that sunlight that's coming through there?
Yeah, that is your sunlight.
Yes, stunning. Absolutely stunning.
So I think my lighting assistant was actually Kavinash on this one here.
Mm.
Uh, Lit up with the 8600 as well. So I love the 8600. It's a power packer, and I can take it into any scenario and walk out smiling.
If you do remember, I did tell you that I want you to come and collect one of the 8300s that I have. Yeah, I think
Yes,
it's
yes,
inside. Yeah, it's
yeah,
waiting for you. When you're ready, just come and collect it and take it out and use it.
hundred
And
percent.
we can talk. We can talk after that. Because I promise you, you touch this light, you're gonna go buy yourself a few.
Yeah, no, there are times where I found that I needed a little bit more power than the 8200, so I
Mm,
bought that the Godox mount where you put on two 8200s, and that seemed to have been working as well.
mm.
So it's just a bit lighter for the guys that are carrying the light.
Yeah. No, no, that's actually I think one of Kenlan's favorite setups. Kenlan
Right.
actually likes to use two of those 8200s, and he puts it obviously on the 80 B2.
Okay.
Love it. Wow. Look at this. How did you light this up? Is this two 8200s?
No, those are actually two of my LC 500s.
Serious.
So that's why I say, I mean, I use all the different variations that we get.
Variations of
Um,
lights, yes.
yeah, it's either strobe or it's constant light, continuous
Mm,
light. Um,
mm,
I'm loving the those ice lights. It's
yeah.
amazing. Even the ML600s. You
Mm,
slap on a battery pack. I'm good for a night shoot.
serious.
Yeah,
I know those ML60s are really nice.
they're amazing.
Really
Yeah,
nice lights. I know
we
they
use it
use
for
they. Yeah, you were saying?
we use it for both video and photos. So it's amazing. It's versatile in our setting.
I think compact as well because, as you said, I think it takes two of those batteries, two of
Yeah,
those. I think it's
it's the
the
N
970.
970 is correct.
Put two 970s on that, and you're good to go. No. Wow, look at this, guys. Don't forget, guests, if you do have any questions, please ask. You can ask them in the comments, and we'll get Yajur to answer them. Got Carl that says stunning. Carl also says the 8200, 8300 Pros are great.
Yeah, I want to get my hands on that.
We got Monisha also here that says one of her favorite images. I'm trying to remember which one it is now.
So this image here was one of the last images we actually shot before we left the actual shoot. Um, I just saw that we had a beautiful sky, and I'm a sucker for those skies. And I just exposed to the sky, got my guy with the lighting, bam, and it was on.
Done. You can see
So we get.
Kenlan is really enjoying it. Kenlan's really enjoying your images, yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Look at the colors, eh? Yes, yes. Was this with your
So
Sony?
this was one of actually this is the first wedding that I shot using the Sonys. So I started off with the Sony A7 IIIs, and
Yes.
this was the first wedding that I shot, first creative shoot that I did with those Sonys.
And you've been enjoying the autofocus with Sony?
Amazing, amazing.
It makes life a little easier, eh?
That's why I say, I mean, it suits my shooting style. It helps me out a lot. However, you also need to know how the autofocus system works within the camera. And I think I got it to work for me, and I've adjusted to it. And there's harmony between the camera and myself.
Just a quick one, alright. You know, we're looking at some of the images that you've taken over here. This is stunning. This is stunning. This is stunning. You know, and the best part about it, if you have to look, you know, within the Durban scene and wedding photography, you don't see images like this. And I'm actually just going back through them, obviously, so I can come right back and ask the question that I want to ask you. How do you stay relevant? Because with these images, obviously, you not only are you um, taking great images or taking good pictures, but you are going beyond the norms, going way beyond the norms. Um, what inspires you, number one? And then number two, how do you stay relevant?
I think tough question, but just to create something which is not normal and that people will appreciate, I think that's what drives me. Obviously, there's a lot of inspiration that I get from our local photographers, and then you would want to try and take it up to the next level, and that's where I am. And especially when I sit down with a client and say, hey, you know what, I'm prepared to travel so that I can get different images, because I'm tired of shooting the same sort of location over and over. It gets pretty boring. So whenever I sit down with a couple and then they choose a boring location, so I always throw, do you want to spice it up and go to a different place? We can try this out, and I've got something in mind that we want to try. I'm pretty sure it's going to work out well, and that's how we end up shooting at different locations, or getting different shots. And it's also about um, coming out of your comfort zone, trying out something different.
No, and definitely you can see that this is way different from what you see around here. This obviously shot in the city.
Sherwin, are you going to ask me where that was shot?
No, I'm not going to ask you where this was shot. Don't stress.
No, because
Um,
you once asked
the
a
last
photographer.
the last time I asked about this building, and in fact, I think I spoke about it last week. The last
Correct.
time I asked about this building, yeah, I remember asking a Durban photographer if she could please tell me which building she shot at. And it
Yeah.
wasn't even for me to obviously just go and get the job done or whatever. But I would have obviously contacted the management to get permission. to use the building, and she told me straight out, "Nope, I'm sorry, I can't assist you." So I'm not going to even ask you about this building. I don't want to know what building this was.
You know, I used to think, you know what, sharing your location um, would be a negative for you because uh, you don't want people to go to the same location and shoot and get the same sort of images. However, you can give the location, but it's what the eye sees and what the eye ends up uh, producing is totally different. I
Yeah,
mean, you can never get two guys going to a location and getting the exact same image. Everybody
true.
has their own
Never.
take on the image.
Impossible. True. That's
So I
impossible.
mean, now I mean, just the other day, I did a post and I got another well-known photographer that sent me a message. Hey, where's this place? And I told him,
I think if there's anything that I have learned, obviously, and this is something that I'm sure you can obviously attest to it in obviously being connected and being friends with me. But I've never been one to obviously compete with people. Never, never, ever. I am not here to compete with anyone. You are Yajur, I am Sherwin. I'm a completely different person altogether. I've learned to obviously appreciate everybody and what they do. See, like now as well, as a wedding photographer, we pretty much share the same industry. But I love your work. I love your work, and I'm sure you've also known that there's obviously so many there's clients and stuff that I've referred to you, and likewise you referred to me. And this industry is quite big. It's quite big, and I would say the pie is quite. This pie is the pie is quite big. Or the cake is quite big.
there's enough to go around for everybody.
There's absolutely enough to go around for everybody, and there's no need for obviously for us to be in sort of competition with one another. Um, Absolutely no reason. So there's nothing stopping us from being nice to one another, and obviously, sharing locations. Like as I said, there's the 8300 that's over there. Obviously, if you want to come and pick it up, you can use it. Um, the first time that I used an 8600, if for people to obviously know this now, the first time I used an 8600 was actually your 8600.
Yeah.
You told me just to come and pick it up and use it, and obviously use it for however long I wanted it, and I used it. And shortly afterwards, I got an 8600. And there's no need for us to obviously be in competition with people. Even with price brackets and stuff like that, and I find so many people compare and complain about the other photographers that are in the industry that are obviously at a cheaper packages and stuff like that. Oh, they're undercutting us. And no, this industry is quite big. You don't see Nike complaining about Mr. Price. You don't see Nike, or you don't see what's this, and I remember saying this recently. You don't see Gucci and Prada complaining that Nike is undercutting them. No, the industry is big, more than big enough to obviously accommodate everybody. So be nice, share what you have, share your knowledge, help out where you can. You don't have to go beyond extending yourself, but be a good person overall. And I'm grateful, obviously, you've been like that towards me, and I'm sure I've been like that towards you, else we
Of
wouldn't
course.
be friends.
Yeah, well, coming back to that price point and undercutting. Yeah, you do get photographers that want to undercut. However,
Yeah.
when I got into the market, number one, I needed to establish myself. So my prices were relatively reasonable.
Mm.
Secondly, sometimes you don't know what you're worth. And my wife keeps telling me, you know what, you're underpriced for
Yeah.
the work that you do. But you know what, it's not about the money for me. It's just I want to make people happy and produce what I'm producing.
Yeah. And I think you've been doing that. You've definitely been doing that. We've got Subash here saying, not everybody is not your client. Invest your time in focusing on the people that appreciate your work. 100%. I could not have said it better.
Great, Swash. No, I totally agree with him. I mean, sometimes you go out on a limb for clients and you don't get that appreciation that should be deserved. But at the end of the day, you know what? We do what we have to do. This bridge, um, I drove past it one day, and I said I must shoot here.
I
So
think because of the architecture, right?
yeah, yeah. I love the whole landscape there. This was actually shot in Shallcross, um,
Okay.
and
Why
that's a
was I
train.
thinking? Why was I thinking Verulam? I was thinking Verulam. I'm like, wait, man, this looks like Verulam.
No, no, Shallcross. It was the
Hmm.
engagement shoot, and this is exactly the client didn't know that I wanted to take them there. And when I met with them, I said, "Hey guys, you know what? You guys want to do something around the train? There's another location that I'd like to try out. The only issue is for us to get onto the bank, the river bank." And
Hmm.
they said, "Hey, it's all up into you." I'm noticing clients of these current months are saying, you do what you have to do." And when they say that, they're asking for drama. So I ended up taking them right onto the riverbank, and that's the image that we ended up getting.
I think they trust you because obviously they've seen the quality, and I think if time and time again this is the kind of quality that you are putting out, you can tell the client, I'd like for you to jump through some hoops, and they're gonna do that. They're gonna be like, whoa, if this guy says let's jump through hoops, we're gonna get that done. So you've established trust in the industry,
Yeah.
trust and quality. They know that you are your workmanship, your work is obviously of a good, high quality, and that's obviously something that it begets people to understand that hey, we can trust this guy. Sure. We got Kenlin over here asking what's the f-stop of this image, if you can remember.
You know, probably wide open. Probably wide open. It probably might have been maybe 1.4.
Let's see if we can get it here quickly. Unfortunately, you don't have it. Yeah.
It probably would have
This
been. Let me see properly. I think maybe 35 more, 1.4.
35 more 1.4.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because generally on the shoots, I'd either take a very wide angle lens and a close up lens. So guaranteed on this shot shed was with the 35 1.4,
Hmm.
and I would have shot wide open.
No, stunning. Look at this. Nice. You want to tell us more about this shot?
So this is the shot where the couple were announced as Mr. and Mrs. and where the fireworks went off. And sometimes it's a bit of a challenge to get the lighting right because the fireworks are so bright. Sometimes you
Hmm.
overexpose the image. So
Yes.
now what I do is just before the fireworks, when they're going to do this particular announcement, I normally
Hmm.
switch off my strobes and I
Okay.
shoot available light. And
Available light.
so, yeah, and so the light or the brightness of the fireworks just overpower
Will
everything and
illuminate.
gives me a good image. But you must remember, on the fly, my fingers are working on my dials,
Hmm.
opening, closing the shutter speed, ISO, picking up the ISO. That's one of the things I love about my new camera, that I have my shutter speed and my ISO where my thumb is, and my index finger. I have my aperture control. So all within fingers reach, I'm just changing and getting the image.
No, definite. With regards to the lighting system, how are you happy with Godox? I can ask. Like, I know you obviously set up strobes within the, and this is something people always ask. I've had quite a few photographers ask me like, wait, man, how is he getting lighting like that? And I have to tell them like, no, he set up lighting within obviously um, the stage and stuff like that. There, are you happy with the lighting with Godox?
Once you go Godox, you don't go back. Prior to this, I did shoot the cheaper brands, the knockoffs of Godox, and
Okay.
it gave me issues, misfiring, um, can't do high speed sync on newer cameras, and all of that. But
Hmm.
since I've gone with Godox since 2017, I haven't looked back. And so I've even changed the shooting style of how I light at weddings now. Um,
Hmm.
I'm using more available light.
Okay.
Our ML60s that we use for weddings actually brighten up the whole area.
Hmm.
Also, it depends on the ambient lighting as well. So the lighting that I use may just be a kiss on the subject. That's it. I'm not
Just to
using my
obviously
light. Yeah, it's like a
To
full
at full,
light.
yeah. just
Yeah,
just to fill.
just to fill. I'm not I'm not using my light to light the subject. It's
All right.
just a kiss.
No, definite. There's quite a few more pictures I'd like to go through before we obviously finish up with our live. This is a nice shot as well.
So this is one of the most important acts within the Hindu weddings. Um,
Mm,
offering of the popcorn,
mm,
very significant. So the significance is both the sides, the groom and the bride, bring popcorn together, and they mix it, and then it's basically two families coming together. And when you look at the
mm.
popcorn and ask from which side is the family popcorn from, you can't differentiate because it's all supposed to be one.
It's mixed.
Uh,
Exactly.
and basically, that's the offering. So it's a very sacred offering that a couple would do at a Hindu wedding.
Mm. Same couple, stunning.
Same couple, and this was 8,200 now on a 65 octobox.
Hmm. Well, how many 8200s use you? Just one.
Just one.
Nice. Whoa, look at this. This is very dreamy, eh? And it causes the viewer to want to obviously understand, wow, wait, man, where is this? This has got a very moody scene to it. Absolutely stunning. To even get
So
the
this
colors on. Yes.
just remember, there's no additional filter or anything on this image. This was as it was. I think it was about 7 o'clock at night, where it was just about getting fully dark. And
Hmm.
I think my ISO was sitting at about 4,000 or something way high. And then obviously now I brought in the light, and then the light was too powerful, so I dropped the light, that 8200, right to its lowest power. And there's something I don't know whether people know about, however, that if you're studying on a night shoot and that you're finding your 8200 or your flash still too bright for the scene, you put it into TTL mode and then just go to -2 or -1, and it reduces
Minus
power.
one, -2, -3. It reduces,
Yeah,
yeah, I know. It reduces quite a bit of power on
yeah.
TTL. Nice.
So yeah, so basically that's one of the things that I did on this shoot here, where I put it into TTL, dropped that exposure gain, and managed to get the light, just a kiss of it.
We've got a good question over here by Vinesh Kara. He says,
Mhm.
what about videographers also lighting for their video? And
Right.
obviously, just to give Vinesh a background, you've got your own videography team. You've got your own videographers that you work with. So, with regards to lighting, how do you all share your lighting, and obviously not interrupt their lighting, and they obviously not interrupt your lighting at an event or wedding?
So basically, what happens is I piggyback off the video lights, in the sense of I use their stands. So I've got those clamps where I clamp up my 8200 onto their light stand, and then that's where my light is. If I need to have a light of my own on a stand, then I just put up a smaller stand and I move it wherever I need that light to be filling in areas.
For those who would like to know what is he talking about, this is it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got your 3/4 inch screw here. This clamp will go straight onto a stand, and you can obviously just set up your 8200, even a strobe would fit you. Not strobe, what's this? Speed light. Correct.
100%. You know, the lights that the video guys use is so powerful, and the capability of the cameras that we have. There was an event that I shot, a wedding reception that I shot, where with no flash, no
Mm.
strobes. I just used the lighting of the video guys, and those
Available,
images,
available.
beautiful.
Mm. Nice. No, definitely. I think that's something as well. What people obviously and photographers, creators have to understand. You survey each situation as per what is available. So, if you have a set way of shooting, for example, at shutter speed 1/25th of a second, and you bring in all of your lighting, and you think that every wedding has to be that way, then you're going to have a problem. However, if you do go into a situation and you assess the situation, you look at, wait, man, there's enough lighting coming in through here. We understand that in the next 2 to 3 hours, the sun is going to set, it's going to start getting dark. I can bring in these lighting. So obviously, you don't have to run around at the time to set up lighting, obviously, while people are there, but not use it during those first 3 hours and then use it as the sun goes down. And so people have to, you have to be able to assess each scene from the other instead of obviously just using one set of lighting, one type of lighting throughout everything.
Correct. And I just want to add on that is that I don't have a fixed way of lighting every single wedding. Um,
Mm.
it just depends on the environment, the decor, the color of the ceiling. So, I mean, I will never have the same sort of setup for 5 weddings in a row because
True.
the lighting systems always change, the direction of the light always changes. Um, there was an event reception that we shot where we had massive backlight coming through and
Mm.
very high ceilings, and he eventually ended up shooting the 8200s directly on the subject, and it worked out.
Just a question as we're moving on, and obviously we'll be rounding up shortly. For those who would like to ask questions, please ask it now. We've got maybe about 5 minutes before we do round up. But Yajur, what are the three major things that you consider to be vital to a successful wedding photography business, or photography video, but wedding media, let's say wedding media? What's the three vital things to a successful?
I think number one is responding timely to clients.
Okay.
Number two, um, how you interact with the client. And number three, I think the most important, which is delivery of good product to the client.
Definitely. So that's
You
actually,
know,
yeah, definitely. I would
the saying
consider
is you under promise and over deliver. I think that's what you need to do.
that under promise, over deliver. So yes, it's a technique. It's a technique that many salesmen obviously try to employ in their service. I think what people obviously need to understand that in running a photography business, at the end of the day, it is a business. It's not just photography. It's not just about being creative and stuff like that. You have to understand the fundamentals of business. And I think that's where many of the photographers obviously fail and go off um, in understanding how to run a business. Is that they think that it's just all about creativity and obviously making sure the pictures are beautiful. You can take the most amazing pictures, and you can, in the same sense, also be the most quiet photographer that's out in the industry. And yet, you would find someone that's taking mediocre pictures, but he's always busy, always busy. It's probably because he
I think,
understands the fundamentals of photography, of not photography only, but the fundamentals of business.
yeah, and I think marketing also plays a very important part. How you market your brand. Um, I've seen some photographers whose work is okay, but yet their marketing strategies are phenomenal and they're busy.
True,
So I think it's how you sell yourself. You know.
true. I know you've been. I know you said you did 70 plus weddings last year, and I'm
Yeah,
sure maybe to date, since this past what 5 6 years now, you may have done hundreds of weddings.
many,
Um,
many,
uh, just taking from Lance Romeo's recent viral refund lady situation, I'm sure you may have seen that situation. The one where the
yeah.
lady asked for a refund 4 years uh, after the wedding, and obviously now that she's divorced, she wants a refund from this guy. What's the craziest situation you've experienced with a client?
Um, I think getting in the middle of two mothers, in the sense that um, I got a vibe that the families were not in harmony, and then you as the
Mm.
photographer get stuck in the middle because the groom's mother comes to you and says one thing, and then the bride's mother comes to you and says another thing. Um, I think that's the worst that I've got involved with, but nothing as crazy as Romeo's one.
I think Romeo's one was something else. Eh? Yes, that's
I think
just
that was
insane.
ridiculous, man.
This madness. I think, in fact, I actually said that he handled the situation quite professionally. I would
100%.
have lost. I think I would have lost the plot. I would have lost my respect.
I
Forgive me,
initially
man.
thought it was a joke. I thought somebody did it as a a
In a
joke,
joke.
but
Yeah.
it ended up being the real thing.
Okay, we've
Look,
got Lizan asking. We got Lizan asking a good question. He says, "Yeah, who's your mentor? Who's some of the people you look up to? Maybe in the industry. Obviously, maybe it's people abroad."
you know, I see, um, and I take inspiration from every image that I see. From whether you're a newbie as a photographer that comes in, because as a newbie you might have your own new ideas that come through. So I think when you look at an image, you always need to look at the positive in that image, and not just critique the image and say, ah, no, that's a bad image, because you don't know what the situation was like, right? So
Yes.
you look at every single image and you use that as inspiration. um, there are a few photographers overseas, who I follow,
Mm.
like Jiggy from the Philippines, Manny
Mm.
Ortiz. Everybody knows Manny Ortiz.
Yes.
Um, you've got Kedron. So those are all sources of inspiration. There's a lot of photographers from India as well that I do follow, just to keep relevant within the Indian sort of theme that we're shooting here in Durban.
Mm.
And obviously, you take great inspiration from all our fellow photographers in South Africa as well.
We've got Subash asking, "Yeah, what advice would you give any wedding photographer? Just maybe off the top advice."
Subhash. Subhash is also a wedding photographer here in Durban as well, and a good buddy of
Mm.
mine. Um, what is the question again? What advice would you give any wedding photographer?
Maybe just a random tip.
Yeah, just know what you're doing at the wedding. Don't miss out the important parts. I think that's most important.
I
Don't
think I
miss the
would like
important
to.
part.
I think I would like to maybe even further, right? Because I think I was gonna ask you, what would you suggest to newbie photographer that's
You, you
looking to
know,
get into weddings?
yeah, when
Because
I got into photography, it was
yeah,
all self-taught. I mean, I went to the school of the University of YouTube, and that's where I am today. So I think it's important for you to mentor a professional photographer that's doing weddings,
mm,
and see what needs to be done. Because if you're thrown into the deep end, I mean, I had a photographer who came and sat in my house and asked me what are the rituals, what are the important rituals that needs to be, documented. So I think firstly, you need to know what a wedding is about. You need to
mm,
probably go and speak to a priest or um, a pandit and sit down with him and say, what are the important aspects of this wedding ceremony that I need to
yeah,
take note of?
yes,
And I think from there, as a newbie getting into the wedding industry, and particularly the Indian wedding industry, you need to know what act is when, and capture that. Because once it's done, it's never repeated. You
of
know,
course.
and
I
for
think also
for
like, yeah, sorry, man. I was saying, like, for example, I think, even with the Indian wedding, I would say a good example, like what you just said now, the popcorn ceremony. That's something that's important. I know when they do the walk around the Hawan, that's also a very good, very important part. In the instance of, like, a Tamil wedding, when they're about to tie the tali, and, like, where other people will not understand, wait, man, what is going on? But now, if you understand the importance of the tali, then you know that you need to get in there as quick as possible and try and obviously get the shots of them tying it, getting it tied. So the same importance that, like a Christian wedding, like, the moment that the bride and the groom obviously share the ring, there's the same importance of obviously tying the tali. So what you said now is actually very good. It's a very good point that you made, that people should obviously do their research, proper research, and ask the priests, or obviously whoever it is, the officials that are at the wedding, just obviously ensure that they know as much as they could know, prior to the wedding taking place.
100%.
We got a last question over here by Njabulo. Uh, he says over here, earlier you said zoom lenses are for lazy people. Please elaborate.
In Jabulu, just remember that I also shot with zoom lenses. That was my go-to lenses. Um, 2470, 7200. That was my and just remember, I didn't say it. Somebody told me that zoom lenses are for lazy people. However, um, it's a lot of people use zoom lenses, and there's no issue about using a zoom lens. You can get into those tight uh, shots using the zoom lenses. It's just that I've now adapted myself to just primes, and I don't diss any person that uses a zoom lens. Um, if it works for them, it works for you. That's it.
I think let me go on further to even say that I remember this was actually recently. I was also telling another friend of mine, a wedding photographer as well. I also used to shoot two zoom lenses. So the truth is, with two bodies, you've got your prior to obviously shooting Fujifilm. I used to shoot your 24 to 105, 24 to 70, and then on the right hand side, I would have my 70 to 200 f2.8. Both f2.8, they can handle some really low light. When I moved over to Fujifilm, I would have my 16 to 55. I would have my 50 to 140. And with just those two bodies, with those two lenses, you can cover almost any part of uh, a wedding or an event. You can cover obviously the telephoto length, and you can obviously get the nice wide and close up portrait pictures. And those are stunning lenses, absolutely stunning lenses. But if there's anything that I have noticed, obviously as a photographer as well, prime lenses seem to have a sense of emotion that cannot be rendered by zoom lenses. Period. It has a different type of soul to the image, the clarity, the picture, the sharpness, and the sense that you get within a picture taken off a prime lens is different. Somehow it is different. I don't understand the science behind it. I do understand that obviously maybe because the prime lenses have less elements, less elements within them. So they have a very specific job to do. For example, if it's shooting at a 85 millimeter, that's its job. Its job is to cover 85 millimeter to the lowest of 1.4, while a 70 to 200 needs to cover 70 to 200 at f2.8. That's so many different focal lengths. There's so many more elements involved in that lens. It's not a job specific lens like a prime. So yes, I have said it before. I've actually moved over to a full prime lens setup. So I only shoot primes. Right. I've done that. I think it was earlier last year when I was still shooting with my XT4. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm actually gonna go full time into primes, and I did that, and I've seen obviously the fruits of my labor. Um, so yeah, I can also definitely say from my side, zoom lens is definitely for a lazy photographer, and I don't mean any offense in saying it. It just means that you're a photographer that does not want to do a lot of moving around, because if you're shooting with a prime lens, you're doing the personal moving around, while a
Yeah.
zoom, you're just zooming.
But also another thing, shooting with the primes. I mean, there are certain images that I shot at 1.2. I know it sounds crazy, but I've shot certain images at 1.2, and the I think um, basically what that 1.2 gives you, no other lens can give you that. You know,
True.
it's amazing.
We've got Casey Fortune asking over here, what is your favorite prime lens before we close up for today?
Sherwin, you know this one here, the 105, the 105
The
1.4.
Yes, yes. I think that's actually Kenlan's favorite lens as well.
Yeah,
I know Kenlan is actually gearing up towards buying one of those, so he can use it on his Canon bodies. But that I told you already. I think I want to come and pick it up one of the days. So
you're most
we'll
welcome
make
to. You're most welcome.
we'll make arrangements. I'm gonna come pick it up and just take one of your bodies and go through some fashion photography for myself. But yeah, Jude, thank you
It's
so much
the
for
only
joining us.
downside is that lens.
It's big. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
Sorry,
It's
man.
about that big, about that big, and it's heavy. It's quite a heavy lens setup. But it's not obviously for everything. You're not supposed to use it for uh, run and gun shooting. It's for specific shots. Yajur, I think you broke up there. Yeah, we've got Kenlan over here saying that's the Boka master. Okay, guys, I see. I think your Jure actually broke up there. I don't know whether it's the network that is cut out. Okay, definitely the network is cut out. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us on our episode today. I see we went quite a bit over. Um, we went quite a bit over the intended time. But it's okay. I think the main thing is obviously we were able to cover most of the images and the questions. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it. You can share it with your friends and family, maybe your photography friends, or maybe even some of the photography communities that you find yourself in. Uh, Wedding photography is not an easy genre. It's an entire industry all on its own. It demands a lot of time, a lot of dedication. It's a lot of effort, and if anything, I can advise photographers, especially new photographers that want to enter the wedding industry, take it seriously. It's not something that's you can play around with. It's an industry where you can get hurt really bad, really fast. Why I say that is because you must remember you're working with people and you're working with obviously uh, a moment that's very important to people, their wedding. So when you're doing the wedding, you must understand that you're obviously shooting something that is vital and important to them. If you mess something like that up, they can actually take you up legally. They can take you to court and they can sue you for it. Uh, it's not an industry that I would tell newbies to get involved directly into as soon as they start photography. No, I usually tell some of my students and obviously those who I mentor to start up with obviously doing event photography. Start off with event photography and obviously learn as much as you can from that industry. It's a much more lenient industry compared to the wedding industry. When you've acquired the knowledge and if you've acquired obviously understanding on how to execute a wedding without obviously having any issues and ensuring that you have the necessary backups, backup lighting, backup memory cards, backup what's this, cameras, backup lenses. When you have the necessary equipment and experience to cover a wedding properly, then and only then should you take on wedding client work. Before that, don't. I promise you, it's touch is a move. You make a mistake, and it can ruin you for a very long time. So it's not just for everybody. It's something that obviously takes, as I said, a lot of time and dedication. So as we just spoke to obviously someone that has mastered it out here in Durban, Yajur Chotai, he's given us some advice. He's obviously shared some of his work. He's actually an avid Godox photographer. He loves the Godox system. He's actually got quite a bit of Godox lighting. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us, for obviously tagging along on this one. If you are looking to purchase any Godox equipment, if you're looking to obviously get some advice on lighting and obviously the type of lighting that you need, or maybe you find yourself in a certain situation that you want to advance your lighting, you can contact me directly. You can catch me at Sherwin Pather Photography. You can catch me on Instagram, Facebook as well. Just a quick one, you can actually get Yajur on Facebook and Instagram. It goes under Yajur Chotai, so that's Yajurchotai. Yajur Chotai Photography. You can catch him on Instagram and you can get him on Facebook. You can also search up YCPF. All right, so do tag him. Obviously, get in contact with him. You can obviously follow him as well. And thank you so much for joining us, guys. If you're looking at purchasing any lighting, do contact me and I can assist you. Give you my Godox discount code. You'll get it. It's Godox Sherwin. So use it when you're purchasing from Godox SA, and you'll get an awesome discount. But guys, thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to catching you next week. We're going to have an awesome guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You will find out on Monday. Stay tuned. The announcement will go out. He's a fashion photographer. He's based out in Johannesburg now, formerly from Durban. And yeah, we'll take it from there. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Peace out.